Hey guys, and welcome to another Blueprints tutorial. Yesterday I posted a video on how to create a multiplayer chat system with multiple chat channels. I did it all in one video. It ran over almost 2.5 hours, and then I get to the end and I realized that I developed it in a separate starter project. Then when I initially tested it out, and as the result, it didn't work at the end of the video. And because I didn't break the video up into separate video parts, I didn't want to spend another 2.5 hours or more re-recording it. It just felt wrong to leave it at that, even though I had a working version that I showed you at the end. I can't just sit. I don't feel too good about leaving it at that. So what I decided to do today is I will re-record everything. I'll put them into their own video pieces and I'll categorize each video. So the first part that we will cover today will be how to create the HUD. We're just going to create the HUD. The step after that, we will focus on the player controller, and the step after that, we'll focus on the game state updates that the player controller will use to save messages. After we get through that and we have a basic chat system with channels, I will also show you how you could set up a private messaging system as well as like a guild / clan chat. And then I'll probably also hit on how to have a local, quote, local chat channel that is for a specific area in the map. And I think we can accomplish that with trigger boxes. So this is going to be a rather long series, but I'll split everything up into videos. Hopefully each video won't be more than 30 minutes. I'll try to keep it below that. Because I know at 30 minutes, that's still pretty long to sit there and, you just want it to work as quick as possible. So let's go ahead and get started. I could start with a blank project. I think I'm going to start with the third-person project, just so we have something in the UI that's not, an empty skybox. So let's go ahead and get started. And this should work with your project without a problem. I suspect that either I messed something up in my initial video that I posted on YouTube, or there was an issue or a difference with the top-down mouse and keyboard input configuration that the third person has set up differently, and that probably caused some issues. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to create a new third-person project, and I'll call this Multiplayer Chat Part 1. Then I'll use this project throughout the entire series. If you have any issues integrating this in with your own project, you can leave a comment on YouTube on the specific video that you're having an issue with, and I'll try to help you out as best as I can. Okay, so as I might pause every now and then, and that's just going to be me referencing my existing project that works. Because even though I've made the initial project and then created a new project and recorded that for 2.5 hours, I still don't remember everything to the exact name and type. So, and I'll try to keep things organized. I'm not sure how you have your project organized, but I'll do my own little organization here, and you can follow along as you see fit. So in my blueprints, I'll go ahead and create a new folder, and I'll just call this, I can call it HUDs. I think I'll call it UMG widgets. Okay. And then I'll also create a folder called, let's do enums. And I think that'll be it. So let's go ahead and create a new, actually, let's start with the enums. Right here, enums. create a new blueprint enumeration, and I will call this chat system channels. So what this is going to be is this will be a list of channels that your game supports. So we can have a global where map wide you can talk to people, and I'll do a trade, and a trade will probably be a local area, but instead of the local chat being polluted with trade requests and trade conversations, they'll have their own little channel. And then I'll do local, and I think that's it for now. I'll keep it simple. So save that, close that. We should not need that anymore. Not for a while at least. Open up UMG widgets, create a new user interface widget blueprint. I'm going to call this WB. WB stands for widget blueprint, and chat box. Save it, open it, and let me bring this in over here. And I prefer to save on compile always. So if you check this triangle. Okay, so we've got our canvas. Let me do a quick reference. Okay, grab a border and drag the border on the canvas. Within the border, grab a grid panel and drag it in there too. And within the grid panel, we're going to use a border. Drag two borders in there, just like that. And drag a horizontal box in there. Right between the borders. We double check. Okay. And a spacer. And put the spacer up above the horizontal box and below the first border. In the first border, we will have a scroll box, followed by a vertical box, and that's it for that. In the horizontal box, we will have buttons, which will represent different tabs or buttons, if you will, for each channel. So drag a button in there and put a text in the button. And let's go ahead and right click, copy, and then paste that twice. We need 3 buttons. And that's that for the horizontal box. In the last border, we need a size box. We need a horizontal box. And then within the horizontal box, we need a scroll box with a multi-line, a text box multi-line inside the scroll box. That's going to be where the user types. And then as a second child of the horizontal box, we need a button and a button text. We'll just grab this one, copy one of these, paste them in this horizontal box, and there we go. This vertical box, let's go ahead and name this channel messages. Is variable. We need to expose that as a variable. And let's go ahead and name these buttons. We call this button global, or button channel global. I'll call this one button channel trade. And I'll call this one button channel local. Okay. And in this text box multi-line, we will call this text message to send, expose it as a variable. And for the text block of this button, we'll set the text to send. And call the button itself button send message is variable. Make sure that's a variable. For each of these button text nodes, we can call these global for the global channel, trade for the trade, and local for the local. Okay, let's double check. Okay, Let me swing over to my notes. Okay, for this outside border, we need, don't do content, color, and opacity. That really messed me up in my first video, and it made everything invisible. Go under appearance, brush color, change your alpha to 0. And you can style this however you'd like. This is just the way I'm going to style it. And for the grid panel right here, click on the grid panel, add a column fill, set it to 1, and a row fill. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 of them. For the first one, set it to 0. Leave all the others, or sorry, for the first one, set it to 1, and for the others, leave them at 0. And check the alignments. Okay. And go down to the first border. And for the row, we leave that at 0. Let's go ahead and change the color, the brush color of the first border though. And we'll change this to, I'll do black. I'll keep it consistent with my previous video. And one last thing we'll do so we can see this better is we'll resize the outer border. That'll be our chat box. Okay. Next, let's select the spacer, and we will set the row to 1. Okay, and for the horizontal box, we'll set the row to 2. Rows are 0 based, and for the last, we'll set the row to 3, like that. If you if you need to know more about grid panels, I'm not an expert with grid panels, but I forget his name. I'll link to him. He has some really good UMG widget tutorials on YouTube. I think it's Wadstein, I believe is his last name. Can't remember his first name. I want to say it's Daniel, but I'm not sure. Okay, next. So we've got a basic layout there. Let's select the border for the chat box, and we'll change the color, brush color. I'll just set it to black and set the alpha to 0.25. And select each of these channel text blocks, and I'll do a font of, that might be too small. I'll just do 12. We might have to resize those. And let's see, I'll change the actual color of the font, color and opacity. For global, I think I'll do a green, like that. For the trade, let's go ahead and do a yellow. And a local, what should we do for local? We can do like a blue. Okay. Let's see, I don't want to spend too much time on the styling, but let's see about changing the button colors. Okay. I've actually never done a whole lot of UMG work, so this is all new to me too. Mostly new. Okay, background. Cancel that. Let's grab that color code right there. Copy that. Go over to here. Place it in there. Same here. Okay. Alright, select our horizontal box. Actually, select the scroll box and set that to fill. So it'll hog up all the available space. That's where they are going to type. So we want that to have as much space as possible. For the, let's keep the font sizes consistent. So that'll be a font size of 12. And let's change the button color as well to make it fit in a little bit more. I'll probably just use the same color. Okay, there we go. And the font color, let's see. I think I'll use a green for that as well. actually. Okay. Change that to white again. Okay. Alright, I think that's good for that. Compile and save. And let's go ahead and I'll move the entire widget to the bottom left. I think that's pretty standard for chat boxes and games. And the text message to send, let's grab or change the background color. I'll set that to black, and I'll do 0.15. Okay, and the reason is because the border behind that, actually let's do this, we'll just set it to 0. We can tweak that later if we need to. Okay, let me just double check auto. Alrighty. Okay. So next, let's see. I'm going to paste some large text in here, just so we don't have to type out a lot of text in the game. There we go, I'll just set it to that. And then that'll also show us how everything will scale when the user types in quite a lot of text. And we could set the font size. No, we'll leave it at 12 for that. But we do have to configure the size box. So I'm glad I put that large amount of text in there. So let's do a max desired height of 50. I think that'll be good. The font color and the text message to send, we'll change that. The foreground color, it's called foreground color, we'll change that to white. And let's see, let me check something really quick. The text does look quite large. We will not make that bold, we'll make that regular. Compile and save. And Roboto regular 12. Still looks like the font is fairly large. Let me scroll box fill. Let's go ahead and reduce that. Maybe 10. We'll leave it at that for now. When it's rendered in the game, it might look a little bit different. And then the next thing I want to do is add one more spacer to the horizontal box. We'll add it to the top though. And what we can do is we can push those channel buttons over just a little bit. Maybe not that much, just to give it try to give it the effect of like tabs. I'll try 8. I think 8 will be good. Okay. Let's go ahead and go to the event graph. We'll delete those. We can add those as we need to. And what we need here, we need 2 event dispatchers, on send message and on channel changed. Oop, if I can spell right. Okay. We'll get to those a little bit later. Let's go ahead and create a new variable in our widget and call this current channel. We'll make it private and change the type to that channel enum we created. Chat system channels. And let's grab our channel buttons and add a click event for each one. Drag the current channel 3 times as a setter. connect those up. Okay. And then we need, so when you click a channel, the widget will persist what the current selected channel is, and will send this enum value to outside code that needs to use it. Let's go ahead and, let's see, add a new click event for the button send message, just like that. Let me refer to my notes. And then grab the text message to send and get it. Drag off the get pin and call get text, multi-line text box. Drag off that and call trim preceding and trailing. This will trim any white space from the beginning and end of the line, which means if all the person entered were space or tab characters, then the entire spaces, all of the spaces and tabs from the string will be stripped. And then the length of the string would be 0. But if they had other characters like periods or commas or alphabet or numbers in there, it wouldn't be 0. Because then what we need to do is we need to check if the text is empty. So drag off that and call text as empty, because we don't want to send the server blank or empty space messages. It just won't be good. A lot of spam could happen that way. Go ahead and do that. Bunch this up like that. Okay, so if the text is not empty, we'll do a not to make it a little bit easier to read. If it is not empty, then we know we can send it because they have something to say. So hold down B and left click to add a branch for the shortcut. And then, let's see, we do need one structure before we continue. So go back to your blueprints and your content browser, and I'll create a new folder called structs. And right click blueprint and new structure. Okay, and we are going to call this structure chat message. This structure will represent a single chat message made by one person. And it will contain a message ID that you can use in your system internally. Maybe you save the message to a database outside of the Unreal Engine, like on one of your servers. A channel, and the channel will be of type our channel enum, the channel the message was made in, and a date time, and we can call this message time, and this is a date time of when the message was sent, and a message which will be of type text. And that's it for that. So now you can right click and do make chat message. Okay. Click and drag off the text trim preceding and trailing connected to the message. For message time, I'm going to just call a UTC now function. The channel will be the current channel. Just like that. And the message ID, let's go ahead and create a new private function called get or make message ID. Make it private, and it can be up here, and it will have an output of message ID, and the type would be GUID. And add a new local variable to the function. You just call it ID of type GUID. Okay, and drag the ID here and set it and call make GUID. Nope, I think that was the wrong one. New GUID? Yep, new GUID. Connect that up, and actually let's not do that. We'll just drag that like that. So there's a weird, the way the new GUID function works, I think it passes around a function pointer. So if we were to just assign this return value to our structure, each time you accessed the message ID and our structure here, the GUID would change. I spent on one of my other projects, hours debugging that until I figured out what was going on, and other people reported it as a bug. But I think the Epic team came out and said it's not a bug. So that's alright though. Let's go ahead and straighten out those nodes a little bit. Okay. Okay, next. So after, we can add in a little bit of commenting too. So verify user entered message. And let me just double check I'm recording. And yes. Wow, already at 30 minutes. Okay. Make message. This is where we make the message. Like that. And after we make the message, we need to call onSendMessage. And onSendMessage needs, so select it and add a new variable called message, and of type our chat message structure, and pass in this reference like that. Okay. Let's go ahead and add a new custom event and call this clear entered message. And drag the text message to send, get it, drag off the get, call set text, multi-line text box, drag it like that, and just leave it blank. This will reset the text box for us. And then drag off the dispatcher call and call clear message and execute clear entered message. Okay. Just like that. Looking good. Bring that up. Okay, that's it for that function. Let's execute or compile. And let's see. Let me see what we're missing. Okay. So go back to these 3 button click events. Move them up out of the way. And on each one, first we need to add one additional custom event. Call it clear channel messages. What this will do is it will get the channel message history, or the message history for the current channel, and we need to call clear children of the panel widget. So after you change a channel, we want to clear the channel messages. And I'll make that plural. Okay. And after each of these, we'll connect them into the same event call node, just like that. And then we need to dispatch this on channel changed. So let's call it. However, we do need a new variable. We'll call it channel, and its type will be our chat system channel. Connect that up. So when the user changes a channel, we clear the messages that's in the chat history, and then we dispatch an event to let our outside code know that a channel was changed. So another thing you can add to this struct, and I did overlook it, but I haven't been using it. We'll go ahead and add it. Author player ID, and I'll probably end up changing this variable type or add something else too. This is just the player controller ID that sent the message. And if we just move this over like so, grab this, call a get owning player, and then get player ID, get player controller ID. Connect that up just like that. and open this up and drag this right there. Let's go ahead and make this a wee bit bigger to make more room. Like that. Okay. And that's it, I think, for this widget. Let's double check. Okay, yeah, I think that's it for this widget. I'll fix things up a little bit. Let me do a quick time check. Right around 30 minutes. Okay. Okay. We need one additional blueprint. So user interface widget, and oops, sorry, this is the wrong folder. Make sure you're in the right folder. New user interface widget blueprint, and then WP chat box message. Yeah, okay. So this will, let me get over to my notes. Okay. So we need to replace this canvas with a horizontal box. We need to add some text nodes to that horizontal box. Let's go ahead and add a few more. We'll add more as we need. Like that. And I'll do a few more. Okay. Name this one date time node, or actually I'll do message time node. I'll try to keep it similar to the structured property name. And it should be a variable. Select this one, and let's actually throw in a spacer here to add in a space after the timestamp. And for this text node, it won't have a name, but we will change the text to a bracket. And this next one will be an author. So we'll call this author node. This will be the player name. In my case, it'll be a player ID for now of the person who made the message. And for this next text block, I'll do a close bracket and then a colon. And wrap the author node. I've got mine wrapped in a scale box, and I think that's probably to make sure it scales properly. Make sure that's vertically aligned top, and make that vertically aligned top. In fact, let's go ahead and make all of these. Well, we'll do that later. Okay, so after the author name, we'll add another spacer, like so. And then after the spacer, I believe this one should be a multi-line text. Yeah. Delete the last one. And delete that one. And let's add a text box multi-line as the last element. Come on. There we go. And set the background color. We can just do transparent. There we go. And call this one message node. It should be a variable. And author node should be a variable. Just like that. Okay, now let's go ahead and make sure all of these we can just do vertically aligned top for them all. Otherwise, what will happen is when the message spans multiple rows on the screen, these will not be aligned to the top, and it'll just look weird. So vertically aligned top, all of these. Let's see if it'll let me. Nope, not going to let me do that, huh? Okay. Scale box top, top, and top. Spacer, top, message, top. Okay. And let's see. For the message, let's go ahead and select all of the text nodes, and it doesn't let us do a font. Oh, here we go, font size. Change the font size, we can do 10. And for the message node, it's probably another, yeah, right here, font. We'll do 10 for that. And for the fill screen, change this to desired. That'll be fine. Okay. Message node. I think that will be good. Let me just double check. Auto fill. Okay. That's looking great. And then let's change the wrap text at, and we can tweak this later. We'll do 350 characters, and that means it'll wrap to the next line at 350 characters. Make sure it's default wrapping. Okay, it is. And then the spacers, we can adjust them. I'll do 15 for that one. And for this spacer, I'll do 5. Okay, compile and save. Go to the event graph. We will use the construct. We won't need the tick. Add new variables here. This one will be. We'll do author node. Actually, let's do this. We'll call this message and set the type to chat message structure. Private, expose on spawn, and editable. Drag this, get it, and break it. And we will open up the pin options after you have the break selected. We won't need channel, we won't need message ID at this time, but we will need those. So for each of these nodes, go ahead and drag them and get them. And drag off the author node and call set text. Let's move this into a sequence like that. Add a third one, make that the last one. These can be in any order you'd like, just so I don't have too many crossing lines, because that just grinds my gears. I'll do this. Okay, next is the message node, so we'll call set text multi-line text box. Connect that up, drag that over here. And same with the datetime, so we'll call set text, just like that. Drag that over here, and we have to call as datetime from UTC and connect that up like that. Just put these above like that. Okay. There we go. And that should be it for this event graph. It's pretty simple. It takes a message, it sets the nodes, and that's it. So let's go ahead and we'll end it there. So that's part one of this. It's just getting the UMG widgets built and configured. So in the next episode, we'll implement some player controller changes that need to happen to support the chat box widget here. And when we do that, we will actually do a little bit of work. In fact, don't forget to connect the current channel variable up to this dispatcher. Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, in our next video, we'll add some code to the player controller to support the chat box, and then we will be back in this UMG widget to make a couple of new additions, new events that the player controller will be using. So let's end it there, and I will see you guys next time. All right, bye.